I'm leaving.
Hey, you can't leave.
You're fine.
Hey.
And here's another fine.
Okay, that one wasn't my fault though. The live streaming platform Twitch was fined $300,000 for trying to leave South Korea. The Mobile World Congress was held in Barcelona this week, revealing more information about the Humane AI pin, alongside other new products. And finally, what's an AI computer? And while we're at it, what's an AI phone? All of this and more on this week's edition of the Tech Asia Take. Twitch is the largest streaming platform in the world. It initially started out as a place where people could stream their games, but it quickly evolved into more advanced live streams where the chat actually became part of the show. So why would Twitch want to leave Korea? I mean, it's a market with lots of esports, with dirt cheap internet rates. Well, it comes down to one thing: costs. In a blog post announcing the change, Twitch stated that their network fees in Korea are still 10 times more expensive than in most other countries. Twitch has been operating in Korea at a significant loss. That is quite the achievement, given that Twitch has never been profitable in the first place. It's been funded by venture capital money and acquired by Amazon in 2014. But I just said that South Korea had dirt cheap data rates, so how come is it still so expensive? Well, that's for the consumer. South Korea has a rule called sending party network pays. That means that not only does the consumer have to pay for their network access, but the data centers as well. That holds true for companies like Google, Netflix, Facebook, and Twitch. The internet service providers say that this is a system to ensure that everything is kept fair, that these data centers that are using the infrastructure should pay for a part of it. The problem with that argument is that other countries in the region have similar high-speed internet for the same price, but without having the data centers pay for it. This violates something known as net neutrality. Net neutrality means that every piece of data is treated as the same by your internet service provider. Even if the cost is a little bit higher, that means that companies don't have to do backroom negotiations where the terms don't have to be disclosed to the public. And this can lead to very low or very high charges, depending on how the ISP feels about the company.
That a company run by Amazon, which serves a significant portion of the internet's traffic through its AWS services, was not able to get favorable data rates from Korean ISPs is troubling. But that goes to show that while it feels more fair on the surface, these data center regulations don't exactly stack up with the way that the internet is set up.
So you might ask how other services in Korea are able to fare. Well, paid OTT services like Netflix or Disney Plus do much better because the majority of their cost is in acquisition and creation of media, like funding $200 million shows.
Usually I charge a sacrificial lamb, but you get the family rate. Thanks, Dad!
Twitch has the opposite problem, where starting a stream on their site is literally free, and all of their cost is in the distribution, which is why they've been so affected by regulations in Korea. The shutdown, which was announced earlier in 2023, took effect this week, prompting the Korean Telecom regulator, or KCC, to issue a more than $300,000 fine for undermining the interests of users.
With Twitch leaving the country, streamers have flocked to other platforms, both local and international. Twitch's main rival, YouTube, has been making huge advancements in the live streaming space. And though we've not heard Google complaining about the cost of running a live streaming service in the country,
for YouTube, unlike Twitch, it is a profitable company. Remains to be seen what this will mean in the coming months as Twitch actually finalizes its wind down of its operations in Korea. But let's move on to our main story this week, the Mobile World Congress. Held in Barcelona, we saw several product launches and demonstrations held. First and foremost, Humane, which was a company founded by ex-Apple employees that launched its AI pin through a lot of hype that cost $700 plus a subscription for an AI assistant that you could wear on your clothes. The demonstration saw the AI pin giving directions or translating words in real time, as well as projecting an image onto someone's hands. But this is not something that can't be achieved with a phone. The company's pitch is that everyone is addicted to their phones these days, and we need to find a way to interact with a world that doesn't involve a screen. But the issue for Humane is that most people are addicted to their phones. So I'm not too sure about the markets for a standalone AI product. Speaking of companies that have seemingly a product for everything, Samsung, the home appliance, car, phone, chip, hotel magnate company, announced a new wearable today, the Samsung Smart Ring. This might be the first you're hearing of a smart ring, and it's relatively self-explanatory. It's a ring with sensors that allow you to track your health, your heart rate, much like a smartwatch. You're hearing me say much like a smartwatch? Why would I want a ring that doesn't have a display compared to a watch? It sounds like the same product again from last time. Well, this one has some advantages as well. First and foremost, accuracy. So you can see this is where I would put my smartwatch if I had one, but I have lots of bones right here, which impede in the tracking of heart rates. Whereas this is where you'd put a smart ring, if I had one, which is much closer to where hospitals actually take your heart rates. The second advantage is battery life. If you own a smartwatch, you know that the battery life doesn't last for very long. And if you want to track your health and your sleep, well, you have to make sure that your watch is charged, put it on you put it on a charger before going to bed, and you put it back on once it's charged enough, you take it off. The ring boasts up to weeks of battery life, so that issue is more or less resolved. There are some challenges with this technology, notably the size. You can see a ring is tiny, and getting the battery, the sensor, the chip, the router, to a size that's convenient is quite the challenge. This is something that existed before Samsung came into Ring.
Round 1.
Aura was the clear winner, with sleep tracking and menstrual cycle tracking for people who have those, due to the fact that we have been in the smart ring market for years. There's also much cheaper watches, down to $10, $20, that I've seen in trade shows. If you're interested in seeing me try out lots of different rings, blinging out my collection of hands, then you can leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to make sure that you see when that comes out. Now, speaking of something that's sure to see you, Honor unveiled the Magic 6 Pro, a new phone with eye tracking. Eye tracking came into the limelight in the past couple of weeks due to the launch of a Vision Pro, where eye tracking was the only way that you can interface with a device. Now, this phone has a regular touchscreen, but they did a demo with a camera that's much further away than the Vision Pro, showing that you can actually control a car with your face. So, just looking at drive, forwards, back, left, right, could be an interesting way to add to the way that we interact with our phones. For example, if you have wet hands, you're doing cooking, like you just unlock it and are able to browse it with your face. That's not to say it's all positive. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to think, oh yeah, what if advertisers got their hands on this and decided that you have to watch the ad, actually? Given the right frameworks and given the right conditions to grow, this is a really interesting domain. Speaking of interesting domains, Xiaomi, the phone maker, has branched out into cars. The Su7 made headlines last year when it was announced that it had a 1,200-kilometer range. The model they showcased at the MWC only had an 800-kilometer range, but that's still quite a lot.
The car itself is being manufactured by BAIC, one of the largest automakers in China. What exactly Xiaomi is bringing to the deal is unclear, though given their proficiency in software, it's likely that they're taking care of the entertainment and software that's running the car.
Now let's move on to more lightning round style. So there were lots of folding phone news, with Motorola releasing a folding phone that flips in the wrong direction. So a regular folding phone flips like this, and you have a small display here. This phone has a main display here, and flips like this. So you're able to put it onto your wrist, clip it on, in theory have a giant wristwatch. Samsung also has something similar, though obviously the problem with these displays is that they're very fragile, so having them right out on your wrist is probably not something that you're going to want to do in the coming years. But, you know, maybe it'll lead to something, and these are concept devices to showcase lots of different ideas, much like the Lenovo Sifu laptop, which is, as people have said, it's difficult to see how this will actually be useful, but it's neat to see. It's certainly interesting to see a see-through display on a laptop and how far this technology has progressed in the past couple of years. We also have AR glasses from Oppo that we're trying to get into the studio, but basically you have a display that's see-through that you're able to interact with while you're still interacting with the rest of the world. That's definitely an interesting concept, and since it's the year of virtual reality, apparently, we're going to be covering that soon. And finally, in more joyful news, you have Xiaomi, who also released a dog. So going the route of robotics as pets instead of tools. Obviously, robots are everywhere in manufacturing, so from factories to warehouses to distribution. But these kinds of small, cute robots are definitely going to be one evolution, one branch of the path that robotics goes down, because people love cute little objects, and if it's moving and if it looks like a dog, people are going to feel like they need to pet it. I wish I could have pet it, but unfortunately, that's all that we have for this week's Tech Asia. Now, in our final story for this week,
Chinese laptop maker Lenovo announced that they were going all in on AI PCs.
What are they, and do you even want them? If you hear AI PC and you think, well, my PC has AI. I mean, I can access ChatGPT, I can go to Midjourney and generate images. You're right to be skeptical, but this does actually mean something.
The way that AI services currently work, like Microsoft's Copilot, Midjourney, DALL-E, or ChatGPT, is that you send a request from your computer, which is then processed inside of a company's cloud. When you're not in control of the data you're sending to that server, people can use that data to target you with ads or use it in the training of subsequent models.
AI acceleration hardware can allow, just like in phones or on graphics cards, to make locally run AI a thing. So that would mean that you wouldn't be dependent on a server on OpenAI's cloud, or you wouldn't need to have an internet connection to be able to work. This is actually really valuable and also will help save on the cost because then you're not paying to run the service, you're running it locally.
Having AI models run locally, in theory, alleviates that security concern.
That said, it's not going to be as big as some people might want you to believe. Like this idea of the AI smartphone, it's just a smartphone. The AI PC, it's just a PC. It just runs things a bit faster, but this whole marketing term, I think, is a bit ridiculous. That's not to say that local AI is not significant. I think it's a huge deal, and that's something that Apple has been working on, especially with its release last year of a voice model that you can train on your own voice and have replicated. It takes a long time to run on device, but it's not in the cloud. In terms of security concerns, it's a massive deal. But again, it's a phone. We don't have to say it's an AI phone. Just like you say, it's not a smartphone, it's a phone. In the end, I think that's going to be the end of my Tech Asia take for this week. Now, if you're interested in more of our videos, you can check out my discussion with Aditya and Zarif about live selling being banned in Indonesia, about some live selling apps being banned in Indonesia, because I'm going to be doing an episode on live selling soon. And let me know if you want me to try out live selling for this show. Who knows? Maybe I'll be a successful host. Maybe I'll just have some more insights for you in the next episode of Tech Asia. Until then, take care.